Greetings, YouTube. Another somewhat somber video dealing with RPGs. It's come to my attention, and it is September 19th when I'm recording this, that Paizo's upper management has been somewhat horrible when it comes to diversity and its treatment of minority groups as well as women. And the middle management has seemed to handle it better, and the freelancers have done their best to present the world in a realistic manner and treat people with respect. But the upper management has taken a very hard-line stance to not do that, to very much be disrespectful. For example, while they were having people going to conventions, they were having them double up in rooms, which is pretty standard procedure for going to conventions on a company dime. And they wouldn't put a cisgender and a woman and a trans woman into the same room, even though the people themselves said it was okay. That they just wouldn't invite transgender employees to go to places, thus, of course, affecting their career and their social contacts and their networking, that they disrespected people of color and women at large, repeatedly over time. Now, I wasn't aware of this until just a few days ago. Maybe it slid under my radar. Maybe it hit me. Maybe I found out about it when I was having a particularly bad episode of depression, so it just didn't, ping my deep memory. I don't know. Or it's possible that I just live in a very comfortable little bubble that I didn't have to think about it. Because Paizo, when it comes to first edition Pathfinder, very much, in my opinion, created the best version of D&D that has ever existed. Flat out. It has everything in it I ever wanted. It's not perfect. It's got a lot of bloat. It's got too many damn feats, too many damn spells. But it's still the best version of D&D I've ever encountered. Particularly when you take into account the genius work that Dreamsguard Press has done with psionic rules. And I cannot, in good conscience, continue to purchase things from Paizo now. Now, I am to understand that this is a potentially problematic stance to take because I am harming the good folks at the place as much as the people at the top. And I don't mean to do that, but it's the people at the top, thanks to capitalism, who are going to reap the biggest chunk of my money. And even though I'm not, of course, obviously purchasing new first edition Pathfinder material from them because they're not producing it any longer, I had been purchasing some Starfinder stuff. Just recently, I mean, literally like weeks ago, I ordered something for my birthday. Came early, but I bought it for my, and it was part of it. One of the things I got was a Pathfinder book. a Starfinder book. I don't remember which one it was now. That might have been their world building book, I think. I'm not positive, but I bought a set of their deck of making random worlds interesting. And I haven't even gotten around to really talking about Starfinder as an entire system on this channel. And I will still. And I will still review first edition stuff. And I will still cut my videos discussing the second edition rules, which I've finally gotten read, and I think I've processed enough in my head that I can do that now. So all that's going to happen. And I will still buy third-party stuff that's designed to suit, to use Pathfinder First Edition. Because the people that did that aren't to blame for the Paizo upper management. And I don't have a problem if I buy things used on the secondary market, so long as it doesn't benefit them. And I can give the accolades to the creative team who did the good work that produced the books that I like. But I can't give the upper management my money anymore. And it's horrible that not only did they decide to change the rule system, which happens, I can understand that, and they did a much better job of transitioning from first to second edition without, say, firing all of their fans like Wizards did when it came going from 3.5 to fourth. But to find out that a company that I had really very fond feelings about is in fact just as bad as many other corporations' upper management are, is distressing. I guess I kind of want to believe that my little corner of the universe, my little hobby, is somehow better than the rest, and it isn't. It's just as ugly as all the rest. Capitalism is just as bad everywhere. And that's what I think we're seeing here. People who have power and are reaping benefits from that power do what they can do to increase that power and that wealth, and they don't really care who they hurt. And if those people are, cis, gender, straight, white people, probably mostly men, some of them are going to be socially conservative. Maybe a lot of them are going to be socially conservative, and those traits are going to be impressed upon those below them, whether those folks want it or not. So I have to say goodbye to Paizo as a company. I hope that those creative folks that work for them can find better employment someplace else. They can express their creative endeavors at companies that don't disrespect them, that don't treat them as lesser or other. And I hope that we all vote with our wallets, because that's important. Because until you hit capitalists in their pocket, they do not care. Period. They just don't. Until you take their money away, they're not going to change. And even then, they're only going to change enough to get that money back. It's ugly. And I'm trying to minimize my involvement in it. I already buy most of the things I use in my life used when possible. The shorts I'm wearing are from a thrift shop. And the books I read are all from thrift shops and yard sales. I try to be as conscientious as possible, and I try to gift things back to the world when I'm done with them. I give my books away when I'm done. If a piece of clothing is definitely something I just don't wear often, but it's still in good shape, it goes back to a thrift shop. Or I give it to somebody I know who can use it. I try to be conscientious in my consumership. And that means that I don't want to support companies who are assholes to the very people who produce the things I love. So, I don't know how you feel about this. I will put a link to a thread on RPGNet that's talking about this subject. So you can go look at it, and it links to the appropriate places. You can go find out more information if you want, and see how you feel about it. Did you know before me? Probably. And how do you feel about it? Do you think that we should vote with our dollars? Do you think that we should make sure that the upper management knows? Should we contact them and say, hey, I really despise how you've been treating people of color and women and trans people at your company? Because that's what I'm going to do. So I'm voting with my dollar, and I'm going to make sure they know I'm voting with my dollar. And I'm not going to listen to their PR spin about it. You want me to believe you're making a change? Get rid of every single person at the company who's right now in charge. You get rid of all of them right now. The whole crew. Put new ones in place. And make sure that those new people show the diversity of the world around us. And maybe I'll believe you're actually decided to turn over a new leaf. But until then, don't give me any of your corporate bullshit.